Welcome to the latest edition of Bronco Sports Weekly. I'm Matt Kanan. First, we want to apologize for not having a webisode last week, but we're back and very excited to talk about Bronco sports. First, for the second week in a row, Western Michigan had a chance and took it, going to the top of the CCHA standings with a 2-1 victory over Alaska. But again, for the second week in a row, the Broncos couldn't hold that first place standing, falling to the Nanooks 4-1 on Saturday on Hockey Cares. Shane Burschback and Greg Squires netted the Broncos' lone 2 goals of Friday night, taking the 2-1 victory. And then Saturday evening, Alaska jumped out to a 4-0 lead before Matt Leone netted his first goal of the season as the Broncos fell 4-1. Women's tennis went 3-0 at West Hills last weekend, defeating Iowa State 4-3 and Marquette 5-2, and blanking Kalamazoo College 7-0. The Broncos dropped just 1 game in their 6 singles matches against the Hornets, and Nini Shushvili went 3-0 in singles matches last weekend, while Jill Pasternak was 2-0 and had the deciding victory against the Cyclones in their victory. Men's tennis split last week, defeating Illinois State 4-3, falling at Northwestern 5-2. Broncos are still looking for their first win over a Big Ten opponent in 2012. The match against Illinois State was clinched by Ross Vanderploeg's 6-2, 6-3 victory at number 5 singles spot, while Pablo Olivares' straight set win set up the victory, giving his team a 3-2 lead after the number 4 singles match. Western Michigan's women's basketball had a split last week as well. The Broncos suffered a 67-56 loss at Bowling Green, but earlier in the week defeated Buffalo 102-92 at University Arena. It's the first time the Broncos had scored over 100 points in a game since scoring 116 in a win against Utah State on December 19, 2003. In the game, Maria Iconello and Julia Hinson had 21 points, but Hinson had all of her points on 7 3-pointers. It's the most 3-pointers made in a game so far this MAC season, and it was just 1 shy of the Western Michigan record. Men's basketball had a little bit tougher go last week, falling at home to Bowling Green 72-48, but then being outlasted on the road at Kent State 78-73 in overtime. In football news, the season's over, but National Signing Day was last Wednesday as the Broncos inked 27 new student athletes to the team in 2012. The class consisted of 6 wide receivers, the most of any other position in the class, and 12 signees hail from the state of Florida. 7 of the signees are already on campus enrolled at Western Michigan. Finally, gymnastics continues its great season as they improved to 5-0, defeating Illinois Chicago by just 0.4 of a point. They were down 1/4 of a point entering the final rotation, but now the Broncos have the most wins to start a season since opening up 1988, the year they won the MAC title, with 6 in a row. Now let's take a look at some highlights from this past week. To University Arena we go. Western Michigan, Bowling Green. Shaden Winnington led the Broncos with 12 points with a dunk there. And here, Flanard Winfield with the block. Western Michigan's only SWAT of the game. Mikey Douglas had 10 points there with the layup. The Broncos trailed by 2 at the half, but ended up coming up short 72-48 at home for their first loss of the year at University Arena. Women's basketball now, University Arena, Broncos taking on Buffalo. Corey Buchanan with the steal and the layup for 2 of her 7 points on the night. Michelle O'Brien knocks down the 3 from the top of the key, and that would be the theme of the night for Western Michigan, hitting from beyond the arc. Later, Ariel Anderson drives down the lane, finds Robin Guyden for the layup, and here Buchanan to Henson for 3. 1 of 7 3-pointers on the night for Henson, 1 shy of a Western Michigan record, and the most in the MAC so far this season. Western Michigan scores 100 points for the first time since December 19th, 2003 against Utah State. Broncos win 102-92. Broncos and the Nanooks. Shane Burschback tips in the goal to give Western Michigan a 1-0 lead. Later, it'd be Greg Squires putting the Broncos up, and Western Michigan takes the first game of the series 2-1 and is atop the CCHA standings for the second week in a row. We move to Saturday night, Hockey Cares night, everybody wearing pink. but the Broncos could not get it done as Alaska defeated Western Michigan 4-1. The Broncos' lone goal came with just 25 seconds left in the game. Matt Leone's first of the year. Back to University Arena for some gymnastics. Broncos taking on Illinois Chicago, looking to go 5-0. And Western Michigan pulled off the 193.825 to 193.425 victory after trailing Illinois Chicago by a quarter of a point heading into the final rotation Sunday at University Arena. With the win, the Broncos kept their record unblemished at 5-0 on the season, the program's best start since the team rattled off 6 wins to open the 1988 campaign en route to a MAC title. To West Hills Athletic Club we go for women's tennis. Western Michigan went 3-0 last week at West Hills, defeating Iowa State, Marquette, and Kalamazoo College, defeating the Hornets 7-0. The Broncos dropped just 1 game in all 6 singles matches against the Hornets and gave up just 3 points in doubles competition. Nina Sushavili was 3-0 this past week at number 1 singles, and Jill Passanink went 2-0 and had the deciding victory against the Cyclones of Iowa State. Welcome to Bronco Sports Weekly, and we are here with members of our softball team, senior outfielders Courtney Russo and Jen Cheddar. Professionally, she's known as Jennifer Cheddar, though. Ladies, the season opens up in a mere 48 hours, and Coach Litke, again, is not backing down from anybody. We're starting off against the defending national champions. What's it feel like to take the field knowing that you can say you want to play the best, but we are literally playing the best team in the country?
Well, it's a great opportunity to be able to play them. We started off with them last year as well, which
didn't go so well.
No, it didn't go so well. But hopefully we want to take the field this year and come out a little bit stronger, kind of know what we're facing now. So
it's kind of cool. Like you and Mare both played some of these girls, like in high school and stuff from Arizona. So
yeah, 3/4 the team we've faced throughout our high school career and through competitive ball. So taking the field, I think, for Meredith is kind of, if she starts pitching, is going to be kind of fun just because she's kind of pitched against a lot of them already. So
now, with the beginning of every new season, it's time to get all the equipment lined up and everything like that. And Courtney, I saw on Twitter that you said that getting gear is like, paraphrasing, like an early Christmas or better than Christmas.
I said better than Christmas. I'm too old now to get that much for Christmas, so it's better than Christmas for me.
For our fans, like, what is it like when you go down to the equipment room or however you guys get the stuff? Like, is it all in one bag? What's in the bag? What's your favorite piece?
Well, the way Coach always does it, it's always a surprise, and we never know it's coming, so it kind of makes it a little bit better because we're just sitting there anticipating it all the time. But she'll tell us what's coming, and then sometimes it's in there, sometimes it's not. We got all of our gear issued for this trip, and saw for the first time our one new set of the 2 new sets of uniforms that we got, and I really like them. I don't know, I think they look great. I hope we open them up against ASU tomorrow with the new ones that we got, and then the other ones we'll have by Florida. But it's just fun getting new stuff and looking good.
Now I'm going to change gears. We've mentioned it very briefly. Twitter. You're on it. I noticed that a lot of our other members of the softball team, a lot of our student athletes are on it. How do you use it? Do you use it just to primarily communicate with friends? You obviously see student athletes getting themselves in a little bit of trouble here and there, saying things they maybe don't want to or wish they wouldn't have. How do you use it, like, personally?
I like seeing, like, it's so hard to keep up with friends and stuff when we're all busy with other student athletes. I think it's cool to see, maybe, I don't know, when other teams have games and then they tweet about it, and it's cool to show your support for other teams through that and through the social network, and everybody shows their Bronco pride through it. So I like doing that, and I mean, it's sometimes just when you're bored and want to see what everyone's up to.
Now, Jen, are you on Twitter?
I think so, but I don't ever use it because I forgot my password, and I honestly just haven't been able to figure out how to use it. So.
Okay, fair enough. It's a very honest answer.
Yeah.
Okay, so from a social media Twitter standpoint, if you could come up with a hashtag that would
encapsulate what your guys are looking to do in 2012, what would the hashtag be?
Silence the doubters.
Have you thought about that?
Oh, I've hashtagged it before.
And obviously, I mean, it's a pretty obvious hashtag, but kind of elaborate on what that would be.
I just think, especially in our preseason, we come up against a lot of competition, and a lot of people don't not value the MAC, but kind of not look at it as much of a powerhouse conference in softball. And I just want to make a name for Western Michigan softball and for MAC softball, and say that, yeah, we can compete, we can beat some of these Big Ten teams, these Pac-10 teams, and just anyone out there. Some people might not think that softball is that intense of a sport. Just show them what we can do and silence the doubters.
Final subject, switching over to academics. Both of you have been very successful, obviously, on the field, but also academically, both academic all-MAC selections. I'm not sure if you've been notified or not, but the Bob Bugner Award for Distinguished Engineering Student Athletes is being bestowed upon you and a member of our football team. What is a day like for you guys, in trying to get those academics squared away before you can focus on the matters on the field?
I definitely think it's hard, and I think that unless you're in that situation, you really don't understand all the work and all the time commitment it takes. But at this point, we've been playing sports for how many years in our lives, and I just don't know anything different. Like, it seems normal to me, and so now it's become kind of a pattern of having to time manage that much more critically to make sure that I get everything done, still have time to go to practice, or if I need to do extras, even work that much harder to get more time around so that I can get extra work in on the field, or if I know I have big deadlines coming up for school, get the work that I need to get done during practice time so that I can hustle out and get what I need to get done in the classroom. But I think it just, over time, it's now become natural, and I really don't think about it consciously that much anymore. It's just what I'm used to, of that kind of commitment. But
I think the biggest thing is there's only a time and a place to do your studies, and you have to stay ahead. And I don't know about you, but I had it mostly like morning classes, just because softball is later, and my academic major has allowed me to do so. But so you get up, you go to class. If you have time between class and softball, you kind of try to get those things done. Then you go to practice and lifting, and come home and just get right to it, just because that's what you have to do. And I agree with her. Like, we've been playing softball our entire lives, and I personally haven't had weekends, because we had always competitive ball, and so we're used to doing homework and studies on our spare time.
Well, hopefully you don't get your weekends back until deep into June, as Western Michigan softball opens its 2012 campaign and looks to defend its MAC title from a year ago. This week, February 9th, 7 p.m. Eastern. You can follow through live stats on WMUBroncos.com. Go to the softball schedule. Play Arizona State, 7 p.m., defending national champion. Courtney, Jen will be there. The rest of the Broncos will be there. And let's see if we, as Courtney said, can start to silence the doubters beginning with Game 1. For Bronco Sports Weekly, I'm Matt Kanan.
Now here are the top 5 things to look at this week in Bronco sports. Number 5, men's basketball hosts defending MAC champion Akron in Jet to the Gym night on Wednesday at 7 p.m. For all information regarding the Jet to the Gym promotion, go to WMUBroncos.com. Number 4, hockey hosts Ohio State in 2-game series on Friday and Saturday at Lawson Ice Arena. The Broncos are just 2 points behind Ferris State for first, and a series sweep against the Buckeyes would go a long way in a regular season CCHA championship. Number 3, track and field is competing in not 1, but 2 invitationals this week, as the Broncos will travel to the Tyson Invitational in Arkansas, as well as the Grand Valley State Invitational in Allendale, Michigan. Number 2, gymnastics looks to stay unbeaten and match their 1988 start of 6 wins in a row as they travel to Eastern Michigan on Saturday at 1 p.m. And the number 1 thing to look for this week, even though it's February, softball starts their season and defense of their MAC championship with a trip to the Kajikawa Classic in Tempe, Arizona, where Western Michigan will face defending national champion and preseason number 1 Arizona State Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Live stats will be available on the softball schedule page on WMUBroncos.com. This wraps up another edition of Bronco Sports Weekly. We'll be here next week, same Bronco time, same Bronco place. Thanks for watching.